my gosh. Yes. We are rocking out. This is the 3D episode where we come through your screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to Divinely Dosed, the life beyond your drunken dreams, life on purpose and empowered, a spiritually intoxicating space where we let spirit-led people who want more in to live a hot, holy, and whole life. Nic BeeGee is in the house.
What's up, girl? Thanks for having me. Intoxicated indeed today.
We clarified that like our bevies are in fact alcohol free.
Alcohol free. Just for today, right?
Powered by water, powered by juice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Nic BeeGee, oh my gosh, I'm in awe, right, of this super powerhouse woman, entrepreneur, creator, business leader. She's a best-selling author, business extraordinaire. Basically, she's the shit.
I'm glad you added that in there.
Sober shit, that is. Publishing women all over the New York Times Square block. I mean, you're basically owning that square, which is freaking amazing. And amplifying women's voices with your magazine, getting people to be the woman of the year. You are bringing women and their voices together to be unstoppable because you are the unstoppable force for fucking action. We are going to cuss in this episode, by the way.
Yep. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here, Nic.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for planting that seed of me owning Times Square, because you never know. It might happen one day.
You're well on your way.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Rachel is actually popping my cherry for being on the first sober podcast ever. I've talked about my journey a lot, on a lot of stages, a lot of summits, a lot of podcasts, but this is the first podcast focusing on sobriety. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. I'm also really excited to stare at this painting behind Rachel of a woman being eaten out the entire time we have this conversation. So this is great. I'm trying not to look at it, but what can I say? I'm a perv at heart.
I never thought of that, like that. You as like the perspective get to talk with and have this channeled energy of
Yes.
this man worshiping her.
It's perfect.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm already feeling intoxicated.
It's what I do, babe. It's what I do.
I do. And that's what this is real. That's what we're here for. We're here to have this conversation to really step into, you can feel this good. You can feel better, right? We get to feel better than we ever have before while doing business bigger than we've ever done before, while impacting more people than we ever have before, all while feeling high on life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just comes to we actually get to feel. And I completely understand the euphoria and the pain and the emotion that we get to feel when we are drunk or high or being destructive. I get that. But when we actually get to feel, and we get to feel the raw emotion that is created within and not from something outside of us, it's an indescribable feeling. It's not even about feeling better or good. It's just about feeling in general. And a lot of people think that they can't handle that. And that's, I mean, from my own experience, that's what kept me drunk for so long, and even when I wasn't drinking, it was like I stayed sober for a week, but I was like doing this other fucking shit. And I stayed sober for a month, but I was doing this other shit. I stayed sober for 9 months, but I was pregnant, So I think that it's really just shifting the old paradigm of like, what does feeling good actually mean?
I'm breathing into that because when I first got sober, I had this moment where I felt anger, and I was so confused because I had it in my mind that to be and live sober meant that I was going to be perfect. And perfect meant I was going to just have no sort of weird, wonky emotions. I was just going to be this streamlined existence. And all of that was just going to be totally gone away. And then when I felt anger, I'm like, why am I feeling this? I'm sober. I was like, and I remember my spiritual advisor at the time was like, no, that's exactly it. Like, you're going to feel. And that shocked me, right? That shocked me to think I'm going to actually feel these things that I thought that I needed to not feel. And that's what living sober is.
Yeah. I think that those are a lot of that anger, because I felt the same thing. And I think that those are a lot of like the expectations that we're conditioned with when it comes to the resources, like I don't even want to say like modern day resources, because I think of the resources that we have to get sober now are a lot different than they were like even 5 years ago. But you think about like things like AA and smart recovery and rehab and all of these things, which there's nothing wrong with that for the listeners listening, right? There's nothing wrong with everybody's own way of getting sober. But for me and my experience, I feel like a lot of those are rooted in needing other people and needing these external things to stay sober. And if you're sober, you're good. If you're sober and you're dry, that's it. You're going to live this great life and things are going to get better for you. And, I just have found that in my journey to not be true. I went through 13 years of going through AA and I was even on antabuse. I was even taking the medication antabuse and I would still drink on that. And it just, when I got sober several times, I was expecting things to just be better for me. And I was just going to be this great person. But then when I got sober for good, the realization of like actually being sober spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and not just being dry was the key. And when I was going through the programs that were available to me at that time to try to get sober, they weren't talking about that kind of stuff. It was just stay sober, stay dry, 24 hours at a time, one day at a time, 1 second at a time, do this, call your sponsor, be with people. And really, it took a split second of me being with myself. Like I had done this for years and years and years. And I literally woke up that morning and I looked myself in the mirror and I put my hand on the mirror and I said, you're no longer this person. That couldn't have been done just being in a room full of people that are keeping each other sober for me, right? That was my experience. And so once I experienced that split second of my highest self and that I don't have to be that person and I don't need anything outside of myself, that's when things really changed for me.
Mm. Wow. And that was already on your journey, it sounds like, of you had some time under your belt and it was.
Yeah, I mean, there were stints of sobriety, and I would say the longest stint of sobriety that I had when I was pregnant, and other times it was just I was going to do whatever it took to get sober. And so instead of obsessing about drinking, I was obsessing about not drinking. So it kind of like switched into this addiction where I needed to be around my AA fellowship. I needed to be around my sponsor. I needed to be this and I needed to be that. And if I felt I was going to drink, I needed to pick up the phone right away. And it was like I almost fell more into the trap of needing validation from other people and other people telling me it was going to be okay. And I was pulled even further away from myself. So the day that I woke up after taking my last drink, it was just me, myself, and I that had a very split second conversation and making that decision right then and there. And I had never experienced something like that because I was always looking for something outside of myself to get sober.
Mm. Sounds like you had a coming to moment, which for me,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, like
Mhm.
that spiritual experience of, oh, this thing is now removed from my life, and it's me and me, being led on this new path. And so now that you're on this journey, you are not only on this journey, but you're spearheading a big movement, including a lot of people and building a big stage that represents this message of amplification. And a lot of people who are sober, and there's different paths, like you said, there are different paths of sobriety. There's four main ones, right? Which is like religion, AA, or going through treatment centers. And then there's just this community movement, like people who just genuinely want a better life for themselves, for their
Yeah.
families, and are like, this is not part of that vision. And there's a growing amount of people who are really curious. That's like the sober curious, or people who are like, I don't fit in these other categories, but like this thing doesn't fit in my life in the trajectory of how I want to live.
Yeah.
And you are doing that, and then you're doing that in your business, like you're bringing the amplification. And so I would love for you to really speak to this person who's in this recovery experience, however, whatever path they're taking, but are still on that kind of fine line of like dry and potentially maybe outsourcing, like you're saying, their power to other things, and are not living on the edge of aliveness, the edge of experience and expansion that I think you are so naturally doing in your life right now.
Yeah. I mean, I want to preface this with every decision, and I'm speaking to the listeners, right? Like every decision that you make in your life is for a reason. And it's either to learn or to leverage. It's either an experience, a learning experience, or an experience that you can use as a resource. I truly believe that if you are feeling stuck, it's, how do I put this without being a bitch? When we really let go of things needing to be chaotic and hard, when we really let go, I mean, we see in movies, we see people on the streets, we hear it in music and all of this stuff, that getting sober is like this raunchy, nasty, fucking chaotic thing. And I think that that's what a lot of people expect when you say like, oh, I'm an alcoholic. You're the person on the side of the street with a bottle in a brown paper bag in the gutter, or you're homeless, or you've lost everything, and this and that and the other thing. And it's like, if you're feeling stuck, really letting go of the societal standards around your addiction and letting it just be your addiction and not everybody else's addiction, and not needing it to look like something, and not just thinking that it's going to be hard because you saw so-and-so on the news die of an overdose in their van, or so-and-so have the DTs to death because that was on your social media feed. Like, if we just let go of what society wants us to think it's going to be like, and really just let your journey and your addiction and your sobriety be yours and yours only, that's when things get easier. I, for the longest time, was told that if I was going to get sober, I had to be in a medical facility. And I'm going to preface this with, please get medical attention if you need to detox. But I was told, no, you need to come into rehab for 30 days. No, don't try to do this on your own. No, 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 no. Everywhere I turned, it was like, well, can I try something different? And I didn't do any of that. I literally just said I wasn't that person anymore. And, the detox process looks different for everybody, but I didn't get any of the physical repercussions of getting sober until about a week later. And then my body was like, oh, she's actually not going to drink anymore. So now we're just going to start sweating and give her nightmares and all of the things. Again, prefacing this with, please seek medical attention if you need to physically detox. But my point of this whole conversation and the context around this is, stop listening to fucking other people tell you what your journey is supposed to look like. Listen to your body, listen to your heart, and listen to God, universe, divine, whatever it is that you believe in, and connect there first, because that's when things get simple. It doesn't need to be this big chaotic fucking thing that, oh, you need to be ready and you have to have things planned and prepped, and just decide that it's not for you anymore. And I promise you it will be easier. Now, this isn't coming from somebody who's sober curious. This isn't coming from somebody that, just decided to get sober. I also didn't lose everything. I wasn't getting DUIs, but holy fuck was I destructive. And the internal battle, I made it look good on the outside to everybody that wasn't living in my house. But the internal battle was always 10 times worse than people thought it was. So when I would say, oh, I'm an alcoholic and I need help, no, it's okay. Like you have a great job. You're making multiple six figures a year. You have a family, you have this, you have that. And it's like, great. But we all start with that until we hit to the point it's good until it's not, right? So I listened to so many people tell me what my journey was like. I listened to so many people tell me what detoxing was going to look like or getting sober was going to look like. And I listened to that for so long that I would say, oh, it's not the right time. Oh, it's fine. I didn't lose everything yet. I didn't get a DUI yet. I didn't blah, 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 all the fucking babble bullshit. And it was all just listening to everybody else. It was all kind of coming from a place of the societal standards around alcoholism for me. And when I just let go of that, like the sky is the fucking limit. The sky is the fucking limit. And I understand how painful addiction can be. It's this like fucking clawing through the pits of hell painful. And I totally understand that. But the only person who's in your way is you. And if you're not willing to do the work to overcome how fucking painful it is and bring yourself to that edge and temporarily be pissed off at yourself and not want to do it. Okay, we get it. Like, but we need to stop being a baby at some point. Like, I get it. I hear you. I feel you. Your feelings are valid. It's fucking hard and it's painful. But it gets to be so much easier when you just let go of thinking that it has to be this big, crazy, chaotic thing and just understand that once you let go of that, you never have to obsess about it ever again. You don't have to obsess about taking the drink. You don't have to obsess about not taking the drink. You don't have to obsess about what people are going to think. You just get to be obsessed with the life that you get to live. And I promise you that it gets easier if you are willing to let go of what you think it should look like. It doesn't need to look like going to support groups every single day and having only sober friends and getting rid of all of the booze in the house and making sure you're turning every corner with precaution and keeping your walls up. It doesn't have to look like that. But the majority of the time we think that it's going to look like that. And so we create that own reality for ourselves.
I love it. I love that you're pointing everyone to like their own unique experience that everyone gets to have on this, and that that's really important because that I was struck sober. I had a shift of identity, and I like that you're bringing that up because it really can happen like that. Like the way that it happened for me was I was in a virtual summit with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and like this whole panel of speakers, from Cody Sanchez, who's going to be on the cover of, your magazine. Like she was there. I'm like listening to these people. I'm puking my guts out because I took naltrexone, trying not to drink again, but I drank on the naltrexone. So I'm vomiting. I'm listening to this talk. I feel like shit. And I heard what I needed to hear. Like the clouds parted, light came down, and it removed it out of my life in an instant. Like my identity shifted. And that's what you're like leaning into, is saying like, if you just say, this is no longer who I am, this is no longer who I'm wanting to be or wanting to do or wanting to play into. And I love that you're bringing that identity. And so I'm just curious, like your backstory, right? Like, were you already on this path before you had made that identity shift of being this, the shit magazine, producing author, or where were you at in your journey? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I've always been the shit, but I masked it with who I thought people wanted me to be, or who I needed to be in that moment, or whatever. And before I go into how big of the shit I was, I want to just talk about something that you said about, the identity shift and the clouds parting and the light coming down. And for the listeners out there, it gets to be that way for every single one of you. It's that moment is not just saved for people who have their shit together. You could literally be clawing scabs off of your face in a gutter with nothing, and that moment is available for you. It's available for you if you're willing to let it be revealed to you and then open yourself up to every possibility being on your timeline and in your path, right? Like, it's not just a moment that's saved. Like, I know there's going to be people that are rolling their eyes. Oh, it's not that simple for people like me. Yes, the fuck it is. Moments aren't just reserved with the universe for Rachel and Nick, okay? These moments are reserved for any fucking buddy who decides that they don't want their identity to be connected to some destructive entity. Like, let that shit go. So back to how awesome I am. I'm just kidding. So you asked if I was this person before I got sober. And the answer is yes and no, right? Like, I've always been driven. I've always been successful financially. I've always had my shit together when it comes to like the work that I'm doing and having a home and all of that stuff. Whether or not I was able to hold it is a different story. And to be completely honest, the only reason that I had my shit together financially and stuff is because a piece of me has always known that I was destined for greatness. And I don't say that from like an ego point of view. I say that from, I've just always been a very intuitive person, and I've never let anyone shut that down. I've let them shut other pieces of me down, but selfishly, I've always done what I want to fucking do. And I think that that has served me. And I heard this on a podcast the other day, and I can't remember if it was Jay Shetty or who it was, but they said being selfish from when I was 18 to when I was 35 served me, because then I got to step out of that and learn from it and then turn around and serve other people. And God, I wish I could remember who that was so I could give credit. But that's just the way. That's just the fucking way. So if you're 18, just be selfish and live your life. Go explore. Like, you don't belong to anybody. You don't belong to any societal standard. Go explore, because it's going to serve you. Anyways. So I truly believe that I've had all of this because I've had to. I became a mom at a very young age. And so all I know is being an entrepreneur and being successful at it because I had to. And my kids truly saved my life. I have 4 children, but I've been pregnant 10 times. And so these were nice breakups in the destructive patterns that I had. But also, my kids give me something subconsciously to work hard for, right? I'm going to be honest and transparent. I don't always consciously think, oh, I'm a mom, I have to give them the world, because I don't believe that I owe anything to anyone, even my offspring. We are all our own people, right? However, there's just this drive because I don't have another option. You know, I can't just not have money and not have a house and not have a car. And yes, it's easy to be that way. It's easy to be miserable. It's easy to be lazy, and it's easy to be on government assistance. I've been there. I've done that. I get it. I've got the t-shirt and the koozie from that fucking parade. But I think that it was just like always knowing that I was destined for greatness and creating that evidence over time. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 17 years. So it's like creating that evidence over time and taking those steps. And naturally, it's just my life now. Consciously, like when I had my first kid, I wasn't like, yes, I'm going to trust myself and connect to source and take the intuitive macro step. You know, it wasn't like that. It was just, I never let anybody shut that down. Even as a kid, it was like, I always just did what I wanted to do. And now in hindsight, I know that was my intuition.
Got guided by that, like, I like to call it like that still small voice that lives within, that's kind of like nudging, like, do this, go here, be that. And I know a lot of people, this could be a very triggering, maybe I hate that word triggering, but or very empowering, very enlightening conversation, because I think a lot of people who, and I'm one of those people who's like a recovering people pleaser too, where it's like refreshing to hear someone from a standpoint of being so unapologetically, I'm going to listen to this anyway, I'm going to do this. Because like when I first came in and I got sober, like I silenced so much myself because I was so scared I wouldn't be accepted. Like I was
Yeah.
so fucking scared that if I took up space or if I expressed my opinion, I would be found out. Like there was something to find out. Like there was something to maybe be outcasted from society. And so I remember for the first 2 years of my sobriety, like I just was like this, zipped my mouth and listened. And I had no opinion. I had no preference. I had, and just people would talk, and I would act like I'll believe that. I'm doing that. Like, you want to go to that restaurant? I'll go to that restaurant. I don't really
Mhm.
care. And then I got so, oh, like this was inside of me. And I remember this guy asked me, like, are you having fun yet, Rachel? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, I'm not. I'm not having fun, but I'm sober, And I was pissed because I was sober, but I wasn't. And you're like, are you having fun? No, I'm not. But that was the moment where I'm like, it's about freaking time. Like rip this open. And it sounds to me like, yeah, I'm inspired by this, because this is that energy, that like edge of aliveness energy of being unapologetically you, and then leading an unapologetic message, and being able to be multifaceted too, being a
Yeah.
mother, being a business owner. Like you haven't pigeonholed yourself into like, this is the only, no, you're like, I'm expanding and I'm allowing myself to hold, like how you said before, it's like, yeah, you were making it, but could you hold it? And
Yeah.
I think maybe speaking to some of this that we just holding it, and that identity shift, and standing unapologetically, and not morphing just because I got rid of that substance. I don't have to morph into something I think someone
Mhm.
else wants me to be.
Yeah. I mean, holding it, there's duality there, because when I was successful before I got sober, I was successful because I thought all of those things were going to make me successful.
Mm,
And most of the time I couldn't hold it, right? Like, I mean, even shortly after sobriety, I remember last year, around this time, I had my first 200K month and I just fucking blew it. I just fucking blew it. It was like I went to all the stores and I did all the things and I bought a brand new Benz and all of this stuff. And I love my Benz. Don't get me wrong. I'm very fucking proud of myself for being able to pick that baby out. However, now, I mean, I've evolved at such rapid speed. Now I look at money differently. So it's like when I was drinking, I I thought that that stuff would make me happy. And so I couldn't hold it. It was like everything that I did, yes, I was successful at everything that I did, but I did so much because it was like, oh, I'm successful, but I can't hold it. And I would lose it. And then I would get bored and I would do this and I was successful and then I couldn't hold it. So it's just a different way of living. Like it's hard for me to even explain, but I think that it just comes down to like the level of trust that I have with myself. Now I know that I can hold fucking anything. Somebody, like, I could have a download that I'll own Times Square. And to me, that I've already normalized that. Like, well,
mm,
duh. Like, if that's something that I wanted to do, that's possible for me. Where when I was drinking, it'd be like, I need that to be happy. And then even if I got it, I wouldn't be able to hold it because I was just doing it to make me happy. And oh, I done that. So on to the next thing. So there's duality in all of it, you know?
I really appreciate that distinction about now the motive. Like, what is the motive behind it? And you're like, the motive behind it is because I can, and because I'm not only just going to do it just so that I can blow it and be done, but so that it's like you're building something.
Well,
And
I would do it to make more money.
yeah.
I mean, isn't that why anybody would buy Times Square, is to make more money? But yeah, I think one of the biggest things about sobriety is, for me, in my experience and with women that I've worked with, is really being good here first and then everything else amplifying that. If you're not fucking right in your heart and in your head, and you're making a bunch of money and your business is thriving, it's going to be short-lived because you'll always be in lack. But if you're good in your heart and your head, and you're good sitting in a room with nothing, completely naked, alone, and you're having the time of your life. That came out dirty and I totally meant it to. Then you're ready. But if you're sitting in that room naked and you're afraid because you're alone and you're starting to get insecure and you're pinching your arm fat and you're craving things and you're like, fuck, where's my phone? Where's my booze? Where's my shit? Then you're not going to be able to hold the things that you think will make you happy because those things are amplifying what you're doing. You're just thinking that they're going to make you happy because society tells you that, well, if you go to school and get the diploma and then go to college and make a bunch of money and get the white picket fence and get married and have kids, then you'll be happy. And then here's a reward of retirement 5 years before you die. Yay! All right. So, another thing that I wanted to touch on was when you said when you got sober and you were just listening and you didn't want to voice your opinion because you felt that like fear of rejection. I mean, I still feel that because I lived my life like that for so long, right? Like that doesn't just go away. However, I remember specifically when I went into AA and some like 80-year-old guy that was sober for 50 years and he's like, just listen in these rooms, don't say anything because your opinion, like that's what got you in here in the first place and da 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 da. And I was like, actually the whole reason that I was living this life of needing validation from booze and destruction and all of the things is because I wasn't using my own voice and I was listening to other people. Like it really comes down to that. So fuck you. I will state my opinions. And I think that that's really why I can stand on my own 2 feet in sobriety now and just be okay with everything. Where when I was drunk, I wasn't. I was very insecure. And while I've always had the drive and I've always had the connection to myself, it was always masked with something else because I felt like I needed to be someone who like shapeshifted to be the same as the people around her and all of this stuff. And it wasn't a conscious thing. I didn't like walk into a bar and was like, oh, I have to be like everybody here. It just became a subconscious thing where I just wasn't good enough unless I was acting like everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then that in itself is like part of that addiction. Like this, I need to fill up this part of me with this feeling, with this validation, with these people, with the whatever it is, so that I will be okay. But instead, you're saying like when you kicked the drink or whatever, got sober, it became like I am already like you are being that. You are the shit. Like I'm the shit, and then everything else is like the cherry on top of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my sobriety was just amplifying the shit that I already was.
I that's so interesting you say that too, because I hear a lot of the time, people will talk about money and they say like more money is not going to change you. It's just going to amplify more of who you already are being.
100%. 100%.
Right. And then I'm now thinking, because you're saying this, I'm like, is there something we could say around that? Like there's almost like something around, and you're creating this right now, which is like your sobriety. It's going to amplify who you really are. Whereas like before, it doesn't matter how much money you made when you were drinking, because it was just going to amplify that, like
what I was doing then. Yeah. Well, I mean, currency is energy, right? So when you see like the physical form of money, that's just a man-made thing. It really doesn't even matter. But it's energy, and any energy that is external is going to amplify what we're doing. So if I were making the kind of money that I'm making now, when I was drunk, I'd probably be dead. Like it's only going to amplify what I'm doing. If I'm making $300,000 cash in a month when I'm drunk, being destructive, who knows what that could have amplified? If I had access to that level of energy that was that currency when I was drinking, I probably wouldn't be alive.
Mm.
So it's just like anything else, right? Like if I were in a rave that was full of energy, let's think of the rave and the energy inside the rave as currency. If I'm in there sober and I'm already high on life, imagine what that could amplify. But if I'm in the rave, in that energy, let's say it's currency, but I'm drunk, well, I'm probably going to be in a really sticky situation by the end of the night, right? So it's also like factors into our discernment. Like when and again, this might trigger some people or empower some people, and that's totally fine. But when we're not in the right state of mind, aka on drugs or booze, we are not able to discern. You might think that we are able to discern, right? In that moment, you might think that you're able to make a decision. But if you're altering your grounded state of mind, you're not able to discern from a natural state. And for me, that's where I got into trouble when it came to destructive patterns and, you know, the internal battle with myself and all of that. Because I wasn't able to discern. I was just fucking flying by the seat of my pants all the time. And it all revolved around my next drink, whether my next drink was in a month or a week or a day or 24. It was always revolved around that. Okay, what steps can I take to get to the next drink? And everything that I did just amplified it. And then when I was drinking and I was making those, Jesus Christ, I can't even like tell you the decisions that I would make when I was drinking. It was just absolutely absurd. And I'm sure there are listeners that can agree with that and say, yep, me too. But, you know, to go back to the money thing, it's energy. It's all energy. And the energy that we are in is going to amplify what we're doing, regardless of what kind of energy that is.
I really appreciate you saying that. And I even imagined, because like I've been to now music, or I don't know, I've been to like I go to like the morning raves, like the daybreaker, and then they have like the morning raves, and I'm like, oh my God. And I get to leave there and I get to like communicate with people and actually have like relationships and connections. And like before, like I'm just thinking of like how many times I like would go to places and then I get kicked out or whatever, you know. And I was like, I remember this one concert, I had this wig on, a red wig, and it was God, who was it? I don't know, I'll think of the musician, but I loved him. Like I did my senior dance solo when I was in high school to his music, and I'm like, I should be in the front, you bitch. And then I pulled this girl's hair, and then she's like, what is happening? And then the security guards like start coming in like from the front trying to find me, and I duck under, and I take off my wig, and I come back, and I'm like, hey, they'll never catch me because you know, I took off my wig. And like that to me was a successful freaking night, you know. It's like I'm drunk, I'm high, I'm on this, you know, whatever, and I'm like, but it was a success because I didn't get caught for what? For pulling this girl's hair and starting to fight. I didn't even get to enjoy the concert. I didn't get to enjoy the music. I amplified drama, chaos, problems, like, and like I say, like, you know, I was a rebel without a cause. Now I'm a rebel with a cause.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I was like curious. I know you're sharing some of this, and I'm like, I feel like you can relate to some of that.
Oh yeah. I mean, by the time I got sober, I was kicked out of like every single bar. Every single bar that I would frequent at, I was kicked out by that point. So I get it. That is smart though, wearing a wig, and then you can start a fight and take it off. But I mean, think about it. Think about that being a successful night and like what we look at success as now, and how different it is, and how like special those moments get to be. It's like when I have a night where I haven't cried about good or bad things, and I've just been like completely grounded and flowing through a day, that's success to me. And that makes me feel really fulfilled and awesome, because I'm like, yes, the evolution codes, they are radiating. we are good. But yeah, I mean, success to me back in the day was like, oh, well, I didn't get my hands on any blow tonight while I was drinking, and I didn't puke, and I didn't lose anything, and I'm waking up and I'm feeling kind of okay. I can actually eat breakfast this morning. And it's like, my the way that I look at success now is a lot different and a lot more amplified and a lot more elevated. And I see this is the success that I'm creating in my life today, and it's just takes my breath away sometimes. And I owe that to that one moment that I took with myself in the mirror that day.
Mm.
You know, and that also makes me feel very fulfilled that I didn't do it with anybody telling me that I had to. I didn't do it with calling people and going to fucking groups every day and like sharing the energy of that and making my journey out to be what everybody else's journey was. It was just that split second looking myself in the mirror. And I'm just like, I just feel immense gratitude for that, you know. And I also have an incredible support system. My husband is just absolutely amazing when it comes to supporting me in anything. And I know that a lot of people out there don't have that. But again, it comes back to him being a big blob of human energy that amplifies what I'm already doing. And you don't need somebody else to make this happen for you. Like it's that moment, like I said at the beginning of this episode, that moment is available for everybody. We don't need somebody to make a decision that's going to change the rest of our lives.
Now I'm curious then, because a lot of this, there's almost like an esoteric or something that's not seen, right? That we're talking about, almost this unseen but always there energy, you could say. And I'd love to know what your conception and what your relationship to, and even name of
Yeah.
your, yeah.
God, 100%. And I feel like that looks different for everybody, but I just got sick of saying universe. It's just easier to say God, and it makes me feel really fucking supported. When I think of God, I think of us all being manifestations of God. I think of us all being a part of God, and I truly feel that we all have the opportunity to be in the God zone and be God of our lives. To me, that means being connected to something bigger than myself, and really taking the ego out of it. And yeah, when I think about being supported by God, I think about being supported in my highest timeline by my highest self. And to me, that is the God zone. And so I don't get down on my hands and knees and pray to a sky daddy or a man in the sky, or Jesus, even though bless him, love him, you know, Jesus is my homeboy. But it's not that type of relationship that I have. I don't have a relationship with a religion. I don't have a relationship with any societal standard on what that is meant to look like. I just have a connection to God. And that looks different on a day-to-day basis. But there's something powerful when you believe in yourself enough and trust yourself enough to be in a God zone, that you can be the creator of your own life, and that you're supported by a collective of energy and a collective of other people who believe the same thing. There's something powerful in that. And I also want to say that I don't think that you need to believe in something bigger than yourself to get sober. I truly don't. I think that even if you don't trust yourself, tell yourself that you trust yourself. And eventually you will trust yourself. And eventually you will have that moment where you do have a connection to something greater than yourself. When we set that ego aside and understand that there is something greater than us, and none of us will ever be able to comprehend how fucking incredible that is, really, as humans, everything changes. The game changes.
Yeah. I'm soaking all of this in, like being a part of bigger something than yourself, living in that God zone, trusting yourself enough, like building up a trust that like, oh, I can change, or I can have a new life. I can, like, okay. And yes. getting catcalled from inside.
Get it, girl.
Like that was an agreement. But something that I noticed for me, and I'm just curious about you, but there were some things that stuck and stayed with me, and I'm curious if you had any of these kind of like almost ladder moments, like something this kind of led to the next thing that led to the next thing. Like one thing for me was like raising my standards, meaning like raising the standard of what I saw for myself. Like I remember I hadn't yet stopped drinking, but I heard like raise your standards, you know, and I remember this guy I was dating came over and he saw that written on my whiteboard and he's like, "Well, I guess you're going to have to get rid of me." And I was like, "What?" Like he's like, "If you're going to raise your standards, I'm not going to be able to be here." And I was like truth teller, you know. And then I started going out and looking at like $8 million homes, $10 million, like just going in there, eating their cookies, whatever, and like looking at the house and be like, would this be my room? Like what color, you know? And I just started trying raising my standards. And then another thing was like finding, and you talked about this, was like that something being part of something bigger than yourself. And these are all steps before I stopped drinking, before I stopped, and we'll talk about some drugging too, because I want to include that in our conversation. But like that was a step. And then the next step was why? Like, why am I doing this? And it was for a reason bigger than myself. Like I never wanted anyone to feel the way that I felt. And if I could help them, I would do that. And that became my big impactful why, and like to serve people. And so I'm curious, like those two things were like big shifts in me that opened up my identity shift. And I'm curious, did you have anything that like foreshadowing it, you know, like that kind of led you up into that hand and mirror, self and self identity shift moment? And what were those?
Yeah, you know, I really wouldn't be able to say like a step by step or like any ladder that I climbed to come to that moment. I truly believe that it was just an end of a cycle, and instead of making it mean something, I just accepted it as this no longer serves me. We don't need to be fucking dramatic about it like we are about everything. It doesn't need to be this big breakup. It just no longer serves me. But one of the things that I will say is I made a couple of decisions when I quit drinking that were really hard for me. And that was not drinking anything that was NA and no longer vaping. Also not doing fucking anything. And the reason why I made those decisions, and I think that I guess you could call this a ladder in the evolution of my sobriety, because now I am just good with fucking anything. You could take me to a fucking bar, like, and nothing triggers me anymore, right? But I made the decision not to do anything. I didn't want to drink NA beer. I didn't want to drink NA spirits. Like every once in a while, I'll make an only juice cocktail, but nothing that has like 0.0005, nothing that tastes like booze. Quitting vaping was really hard because that was just felt really good. You know what I mean? It just fucking felt good. I don't know how else to explain it, but like CBD, any of that stuff. I made the decision not to do any of that stuff because I knew in that moment that I didn't want to replace an addiction with addiction. I didn't want to replace an external validation with an external validation, because whether or not it's an addiction, needing the external validation or needing something in general to feel accepted or feel more than or feel more comfortable, I didn't want to need that anymore. So I think that leading up to that, I was just sick. This is heard a lot, but I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I truly was. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I cannot fucking continue to do this every day. I just cannot. And I was like, I remember asking myself before I went to the mirror, I'm like, okay, if I decide to get sober today, is it going to be more painful than this? How I feel physically right now. And the night before, I had went through like 3 bottles of wine, a bunch of like shit I found in the downstairs fridge, like Bush Light and like, you know, the random stuff that was left over. I took some shots of my husband's whiskey that was down there. Oof. I was just like, and I wanted to end my life. And the cops got called because one of my friends wanted to do a welfare check on me. And I woke up the next morning and like nothing crazy happened, right? I didn't like break things or like get in a car accident or lose anything or go to jail or anything. I just woke up and I was like, I have lost this internal battle. I waved the flag of fucking surrender. But I remember thinking to myself, could sobriety, like, I know it's going to be hard, but could it be harder than this? And I said, absolutely the fuck not. There, like, waking up with the anxiety and like the rolly ankles, you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh God, what did I do? You know, and you're just like feeling like Jabba the Hutt, and all you want is like a McDouble dipped in ranch, and you're puking your guts out. And I'm like, there's no way that the hard in sobriety is harder than this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I walked in the bathroom, I was butt naked. There was mascara all under my eyes, you know, like I had the braid in from the night before. And I was going to go pee, and I glanced at myself in the mirror and I was like, whoa,
Oh,
wowza, like what happened to you? But I don't remember ever looking at myself in the mirror like that before. And I said, this is done. I wiped the mascara, and I was just like, you are no longer this person. Like, the shit's got to stop. And that was it. And it was it. And I know that like maybe 73.5% aren't going to believe me when I say this, but it was easier than shit to not pick up again. The first couple of weeks, I went to a couple AA meetings just for accountability. I ordered myself a little breathalyzer so that I took it in front of my husband every night. So, because I used to hide stuff too, and I wanted him to know that I was for real. I went to an assessment for intensive inpatient. They told me I didn't need it. You know, and all this stuff. And for one split second leaving that place, I was like, oh, they told me I didn't need it. You know what I mean? Like, my brain went to like, oh, well, maybe I'm not an alcoholic. And then the other part of me was like, don't fucking fool yourself, sister. Like, you look like Jabba the Hutt the other day, walking naked in the bathroom. Like, just think of that. And it was like, once I got 30 days and then 60 days and then 90 days, and you best fucking believe I have a chip for every single one of those. I ordered them, and I was like, I got so excited about ordering them. But then once I saw them collecting, I was like, there's no way I can go back. And then once I had 90 days and 3 months, and I was like, I got to get to 9 months, because that'll be the longest I've ever been sober, right? Because of my pregnancies. And then once I hit 10 months, there was no going back. There was no way that I was going to rip out that fucking Golden Campbell from underneath me. I was like riding the wave at that point. And it was so fucking easy in hindsight. Like, it was so easy because I trusted myself. And I'm thinking about the times where I tried to get sober before and I didn't succeed because I knew that I couldn't trust myself to fulfill that. I knew that I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't going to do it. From the first time that I said, oh yeah, I'm for real this time. No, I didn't trust myself to follow through with it. So it really comes down to trust. And so, to go back to what you originally asked me before I went off on a complete fucking tangent, was there a ladder? No, not necessarily, but there were years of just chaos that led up to that moment. And God just showed me what I fucking really looked like in the mirror that day. Because before, I would wake up and I'd be like, you know, I don't look that bad for fucking being coked out all night and fucking getting in a fight. And, you know, I don't look that bad. I got money in the bank. I still got my kids. You know, like, for some reason, I was shown what I actually fucking look like on the inside and out. And I was like, oh God, you know that part in Freaky Friday where she's like, I look like the Crypt Keeper. Like, that's what it was. Like, I actually scared myself looking in the mirror that morning. And I think that, again, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we are all worthy of that moment. I think a lot of people just get to the point where they're not open to that being revealed to them anymore. They just get to the point of, oh, I've given up on myself, or oh, this is my life, or oh, this is that. And at that point, you close the portal to be revealed to you what needs to be revealed. And I was still open at that point. I didn't want to live that life. And so that morning, God was just like, here's what you really look like. You're nasty. You got to get your shit together. You don't look hot.
the Crow Keeper. Yes. Okay. So now, like, I'm feeling that, right? Like, a lot of us, we know. And for me, like, that wasn't even like, my rock bottom wasn't my rock bottom. You know, I really, like, death was not going to be enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, death for me was actually like this reward. Like, oh my God, if only, you know. But like, when actually I started living and I started to put together a life for myself. So it's like people like listen to and like let the portal be that, like you said, let the portal be the portal, because like I could have let that totally rock bottom be my
Mhm.
portal. But it was like, no, I want to cling on to this a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And now I want to know. So like you had this whole identity shift, and you said it was easier than shit, I think, to quote you. To quote you, I think that's what you said. And I want you to like to blow me away. Like, okay, so what is life like now? Right? So we have that snippet of what it was. What's it like now? How do you feel? What's your sensations like, going through your day in
Oh
life?
yeah. Life is so raw. I think one of the things that I learned really early on is shitty shit is still going to happen. Shitty shit is still going to happen when you're sober. Shitty shit is still going to happen when you're making a lot of money. Shitty shit is still going to happen when you're the fucking shit, because we're human and we're navigating a human experience. But wow, life is so raw. Like sensations, like, when you take a bite of your favorite food, that first bite, it's like that's what everything is like. I feel like
Mm.
my senses still continue to heighten. Orgasms are better, food is better, like the little tickles on my arm is better, the smell is better, sight is better. You get to see the beauty in things instead of the negative in things. Like when I think about when I was drinking and I'm in those memories, it feels like it was always nighttime, like physically nighttime. Like in hindsight, when I'm thinking about my drinking days, I never remember the sun. It was always night. It was always dark. Was that my reality? No, but that's the lens that I was looking through. And like I remember talking to my husband about this, and I was like, I can't believe how good sex feels now that I'm sober, but things like that I'm just looking at look better. Things that I'm witnessing, I can see different perspectives and more than one side of what's going on instead of just a tunnel vision of stuff. And it's actually really incredible. The way that I live my life now is literally I just live every day like a lifetime, and I try to do as much as possible. Sometimes that gets me in trouble because I have ADHD and I'm a projector and I'm a Scorpio. And so all that mixed into a mocktail is can just, I shoot myself in the foot sometimes and I put myself in too many rooms or I do too many things and all of that. But I then look at that as an experience and I learn from it, and instead of like victimizing myself. Um, so the way that I live life now and how it feels is just like awesome. And I also feel like, wow, I'm just so grateful to feel pain the way that I feel pain now too, because I can actually navigate it. And then the next time I experience it, it doesn't feel that bad. And whereas before when I was drinking, it was just like, oh, I'm the fucking victim. And then it would happen to me again. And I'm like, oh, why does all the bad shit always happen to me? Man, I need to go drink. And then it was like, oh, more bad shit happened while I was drinking because I was drinking because bad shit happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And now it's just like, I get to feel things like so deeply that then I get to take inventory and decide whether I get to leverage it or learn from it. And I truly don't believe that we get to do that when we're shackled by our addiction. We don't have the opportunity to do that. So for the listeners out there, shitty shit will still happen, but pain feels different. It feels empowering. Pain feels like something that you can handle. And then when you come out on the other side and you get to leverage that experience to be successful in another situation, like there's just nothing fucking better than that. No booze, no fucking man, no, destructive finding a man. None of that shit is going to make you feel better or feel validated when you've experienced creating your own reality. There's just nothing like it.
Mm, mm. And I'm really, and so now I'm really wanting like to hone in on this person, right? Because you just said creating your own reality, which is a pattern of being around a lot of people who are recovering from addictions, drugs, alcohol, you name it. That they come in, and there's people like me, right, who are at that 2 years. I haven't drank, I haven't had a drug, I've been doing all my things, but I was like I wasn't enjoying my life. I wasn't showing up as the character that I wanted to be. Yes, my identity became, okay, I'm not drinking, but now what?
Mm-hmm.
And I just see you as someone who is living on that, like off of just the edge of comfort,
Yeah.
edge of small, edge of old stories, and yeah, like the message for her, then like how to be in your feeling of, you're like waking up and impacting people, to be able to start to step into that identity that not only is not doing stupid shit, but also is taking up space, right?
Yeah. I take up a lot of space. Wow. Um, and there's no shame around that, right? Like it's okay to be selfish. We owe that to ourselves as long as we're not hurting other people in the process and it's coming from a place of soul and heart. Yeah. I Wow. Yeah, that's a loaded question. It's a lot to ponder. I have so much going through my brain right now. Which part do you want me to start at?
If you were just imagining like you're talking to her, like I'm her, right?
Mhm.
I got rid of the booze, but
Surrender.
mm,
Just fucking surrender. That's one of the things that I'm still learning is like let go and let God. We don't have control over anything. There's
mm,
nothing that we have control over unless it's a making a decision. Um, and doing that from a place of trust. But when it comes to outcomes there's too many factors to have control over it. Even if I made a decision to do something, unless it's making a decision to do something where it's just me naked in a room with nothing or nobody else, we do not control any of the outcome because there's just too many factors. Um, so honestly, it wasn't until probably the relaunch of Aralis in March when I decided to completely surrender. And I can't even explain what it's done for my life in so many different ways, like relationships, being able to let go of relationships, being able to strengthen relationships, being humble enough to just listen and learn and not just think that I know everything about myself, because sometimes other people can see gaps and other people can see blind spots, especially the people that care about you, the people who care about you. But when I let go and I just surrendered and I just led with whatever the fuck I want to do when I feel like doing it, as long as I'm not hurting somebody and it's coming from a place of soul and heart, that everything changed. I mean, success over the last 6 months has been like the most abundant, extraordinary, fulfilling thing I've ever felt in my life. And also, it's a hell of a lot easier than trying to control everything. I still have my bad days. I still have days where I try to like nitpick little things like, the fucking pillow is wrinkly and blah, 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 like all these fucking little things. And it's like, but why?
yeah.
But why? So for the person who's sitting there not enjoying their life in sobriety, let go. Like, stop trying to make it look like something that you think that it needs to look like. The whole reason you're sober is to allow yourself to experience life. That's what we're here for. So you got the sober thing down. So go live your life. If you're not happy, surrender. It's really as simple as that.
It's so good. Like surrendering the outcome, surrendering, letting go, and
Surrendering to the fact that you don't know everything either. Like that was the biggest thing for me, is like, oh, now that I'm sober, I've got it all unlocked. It's like you'll always be a student of your own life. You can always learn from above and below, as my husband taught me. Like I was going through a really hard time last year when I retired my mentorship firm, but it was like I became so successful that I was like, I'll know everything. And my husband's like, you can still learn from below. Like, fucking settle down. It's like we're all here as a collective. So it's just like, just stop. If you're sober and you're still miserable, just stop trying to make it look like something and just surrender and go be selfish. Go be selfish for a couple of weeks and serve yourself and tap into pleasure and all of the exciting things that you have in your town. And if you don't have something in your town or your city, go somewhere else and come back to me and tell me that you don't feel better. Because I'll tell you, you're lying.
I think that's like honestly like that's some of the best advice because during that time when I was not having fun, I picked up this book and it was called The Artist's Way. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even finish the book because I started doing the things in the book where she's like, go take yourself out on an artist date. Like go write down, make a list of things that you're interested in, museums, art exhibits, shopping, movie, this, that, food, like whatever. And I just made this huge ass list of things that I haven't tried, a type of food. Like I'd never
Mm-hmm.
eaten Peruvian food. So I took myself to a Peruvian restaurant and there were like llamas. I'm like, why are there llamas? Like, oh, Machu Picchu. Like, oh wow, I'm learning a lot right now. Like, and this is what it tastes like. Like, this is a whole new experience. Like, mind blown.
Yeah.
Wow, experiencing life. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't finish the book because I just started taking myself every week to these dates, like going to this museum, going to this thing, that my life started to happen.
Yeah.
So I love that. Like be selfish, like go do things that you're interested in doing without any other no outcome needed, no results necessary
Mm-hmm.
other than the fact of just going and doing that thing, serving that inkling of desire inside of you to feel alive, to feel good, to feel
Yeah. And I mean, there was probably a part of you that let go of that victim mentality too, right? Like for me at the beginning of sobriety, it was like, well, I can't have fun because I'm not going out and dancing on bars and doing rips of coke in the bathroom and da 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 da. Like, oh, when we step out of victim and we stop like labeling those things as fun
Mhm.
and go experience other things, you'll start having more fun. But if you're just going to sit at home and go, no, I can't go do that because I can't drink and it's going to be fucking miserable. Well, stop doing that to yourself. It's old patterns, old behaviors, old ways of treating yourself. You're worth more than that. Like we have a whole fucking world to explore, right? And so many things to learn about yourself that you haven't learned yet. So explore those. Be selfish. It's fine. As long as you're not hurting anybody, it's okay to be selfish.
Mhm. Mm. I love this. So I wanted to bring it all together.
Bring it
One,
all we can't bring all that together.
bring it all to
That's a lot to bring together.
one word.
Yeah. One word. Insane.
Insane.
Yeah,
I feel like really like I just want to like do you love your life now?
absolutely.
Mm.
I love life because it is I never know what's going to happen. I wake up every morning and I never know what it's going to look like. Like obviously we have the normal stuff that we do with the kids and the things that we need to do, but I never know what's going to happen. I don't know how much money I'm going to make. Sometimes I make 100K in a day, sometimes I make 0 in a day, sometimes I make 20K in a day. I don't know what's going to happen with my kids. Sometimes they're assholes, sometimes they're really sweet, like I don't know what's going to happen with my husband and I, but we're a fucking team. And so I know that nothing can stop us. And when you're that convicted in your life, you don't need to know what's going to happen on a minute to minute basis. So yes, I love my life and I love that I never know what's going to happen because I just trust so insanely that everything that happens to me happens for a reason. And so I don't need to know, nor do I want to, nor would I be able to, even if I wanted to. And so when I let go of all the control and needing to know stuff, and I just wake up and I do the shit that I'm supposed to do and let everything fall into place. Yeah, I mean, life, I honestly say that I can't imagine life getting better, but it does every day.
Mm. It gets better and better and better.
Better and better and better.
I had a tantric teacher and they had been married for I don't know several years, and he'd be like, "Our sex just keeps getting better and better and better."
It reminds me of that guy off Napoleon Dynamite. You think I go home to Starla every night?
Watch that.
You gotta watch it. Yeah. That's exactly what you sounded like when you did that.
Better, better. I loved it. It sold me. It totally sold me.
Perfect.
um, Oh my gosh, I love this. And give us all the insights. Like, where can they find you? What are the best ways for people to get into your world, to get another taste? I know we have a Sober Summit and you're going to be taking the stage, which I'm so excited.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk to people who are just like interested in hearing about it. You know, not everybody wants to hear about it, but it'll be nice to be in the room with like-minded women. Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to find me is on Instagram, Nic BeeGee Official. You can read all about me there, hop in my messages, visit the magazine straight from my Instagram. That's like the easiest way to find me because you can find all of my links there. But I'm really not on a bunch of social media. I'm only on Instagram because I just don't enjoy the doom scroll, like listening to everybody fucking bitch about everything, blah, 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 blah. Instagram is my favorite platform because I just feel like there's such diverse content on there. And I can really like make my feed what I want. But you won't find me on Facebook or TikTok or anything like that. Just come to my Instagram.
And we'll
Don't be
put
shy.
your information in the show notes as well. So we'll get all those links. And we'll also, I'm going to be like doing a whole thing, right? I'm going to be on your block, in your New York Times Square, right?
Oh yeah, you are, girl. You're gonna be on the cover. Like, what are you even talking about?
On the cover, y'all. So if you don't know, you gotta check out. Well, you have two. You have your page, and then you have the magazine page as well.
Yeah, so we have two facets of magazine. We have New Earth Leadership and Women in Business. And you can find both links on my personal Instagram.
It's epic. Like, go check it out, binge it, watch it, like it.
And I'm sure we'll see. I mean, we're going to see each other at LBL, I'm sure, next year as
Okay,
well.
yes.
Well, all
Ooh.
the fucking things, girl.
Oh my gosh, I love that this year. I was like took the skin off my knees.
I know.
Totally.
I was like, we were in New York we were traveling for like 2 weeks for the relaunch. Otherwise, I would have been there for sure. But excited for all that to unfold as well.
There's so much here.
Yeah.
Well, what a conversation.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, Nic, you reminded us. I think the biggest thing is like to trust yourself. Trust yourself and let that trust lead you to that portal that's here for all of us. So you made it really clear that that miracle, whatever you want to call it, that moment, that miracle,
Mhm.
that breakthrough is there for all of us. You know, no matter, like you said, no matter how far down or how dire that situation, that there is a portal for freedom, that there is a portal for peace, that there is a portal for power, and that we all do have that purpose to go be selfish. If you are already past, that one breakthrough, it's time for another. It's time for
Yeah.
another to let that light in.
Yeah. One breakthrough is never enough. We're always a work in progress. And that just to touch on that as well, that was a big thing for me. I thought because I was sober that it was like the end all be all. And it's an everyday thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's not an end. It's not the end. It's like just the beginning. Like
Mhm.
this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I look back at that part of my life when I was using, and I'm like, I know her, but that's like the end. Like that was
Yeah.
the end, and then this was the birthing of
Yeah.
myself. I'm really big into like rebirthings like crazy. I
Oh,
used to
same. Same.
you're like Jesus my homeboy, yeah. Like she's
Mhm.
I used to be Jesus, right? So I'm like all about crucifixion, yeah, like it's a whole thing. And so I'm like, yeah, like kill me, like die me, like let me be reborn, let me be remade. And now how that, like you're saying, like you love your life now, not because you know everything, but because of that mystery and because you get to be present and you get to feel through it.
Yeah. 100%.
Ugh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and if you guys are ready to step into this portal, because Nic is going to keep blasting us through this. Like, I just love your energy and like dropping your like, I'm in 200K. Like, oh yeah, great. Like, give us that, like, help us hold that energy, right? It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
And I guess if you want to step into this portal fully, into the life that's waiting for you, that is here for you, that portal. And sometimes, it's just that one word from another person, or just allowing another person who has that ability to hold that energy, to hold me in that frequency too. We get to resonate with each other. Then the Divine Sober Summit is for you. It's 17th through 19th. Nic is going to be taking the stage, rocking our world because she's the shit. and And we're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be 3 days. The VIP gets replay, so you can watch it, the playback at your own time, at your own pace. And it's time to embody. It's time to amplify. I love it. That's like your word. I feel like that's just your like. Let's tattoo it on us. Like
It
amplify.
is. It is. I don't believe in tattoos.
Do you have an amplifier tattoo? Because it might be.
No, I don't.
Oh my god! Now we can all get matching amplified tattoos before the summit. No, I'm just.
Hashtag matches.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. I
I know,
love
I'm throwing you off. I'm throwing you off here.
It's like bestie combo right now. Okay, tickets are on. Get your tickets pre-sale. Come into the Sober Summit. We'll see Nic there. Until next time, stay dosed, stay divine, and don't settle for fine. Thank you so much, Nic, and I cannot wait to see you again soon on the cover of your magazine. Bye, y'all.